there is a shock that's happening right now, and I'm shocked to find stuff out. You're shocked to find it out. Apparently, well, I mean, we don't know for sure. Shock, is Biden giving our strategic oil to Europe? European Union is set to declare a full embargo on Russian oil after France's upcoming presidential election, which could cause the price per barrel of oil to skyrocket yet again, maybe up to $185. JP Morgan has warned. And the worst part, with China, Turkey, and India buying whatever oil supplies Europe won't take, it's unlikely the embargo will hurt Russia, but it will affect you. Plus, a new report alleges Biden is not only releasing oil from the strategic reserves to help Americans, but the administration could be giving that oil to Europe too. So does anyone? Well, it goes to the market. All right, never mind. And he coordinates it with other countries. All right, let's see what it is. I'm shocked already. I mean, I think we're all. Are you shocked? I mean, do we even have to watch it if we're shocked already? I'm shocked.
I get into the strategic oil reserve. Let me just give you something that Reuters.
By the way, if this clip ends with Glenn Beck climbing into the strategic oil reserves in the salt caves in New Orleans or whatever, I'm going to dance a jig.
Reported last night, the EU is set to declare a full embargo on Russian oil after this week's French election.
And interestingly enough, I don't know if you noticed this, it came at a terrible time because Glenn has a cold and he sounds a bit nasally. It's chilly in the studio, so he's wearing two shirts. A shirt, a shacket, and a jacket, and a scarf, because he's action hobo Rambo formal Glenn Beck action figure today.
Now that election is happening, I believe, this weekend, is it not?
Why look it up beforehand? It's not like you have a giant fucking screen in front of you. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, support the show. This is Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I do these whole clips all the way through. Dear God.
And it's between Macron and Le Pen. It is close. I mean, remember last time. Do you happen to know those numbers? The last time Macron ran against Le Pen, wasn't it?
Yeah. Stu, do you have a giant touchscreen computer right in front of you that you could tap a couple of things and come up with that you don't? No? Weird.
Like 80-20 or something?
It was something like, I want to say it was 70-30, 80-20, something in that general vicinity. Because they have a big election, top two go to a runoff. Correct. In that runoff, it adds up to 100%.
That's true no matter how many people vote, because it's a percentage.
Because there's only two candidates and everyone has to vote, pick somebody. So it was a blowout, though. It was not close. It was like, I can't believe she got into the runoff was the reaction to it. And then the runoff was not close. That's not the case this time.
Yeah, it's 45-55, Macron. And once again, the elites are deciding an election. In World War I.
Yes, the elites are deciding it. And by elites, he means the people of France who don't want a proto-Nazi who supports Vladimir Putin as the leader of France within the country.
Right before we went into World War I, Wilson said as his campaign slogan, "I'm not going to get you into war." Within just a few weeks after he was in office for his second term, after the election, we were at war. He's
like a bastard.
Sent the troops to war. The elites always think they know better, and so they will keep things from you. And that's
I see. All right, they were keeping things from him. Nothing new happened. Do I have to? I mean. May I? Woodrow Wilson did not want war. When World War I erupted in Europe in 1914, the 28th U.S. president pledged neutrality in sync with prevailing American public opinion. But while Wilson tried to avoid war for the next 3 years, favoring instead a negotiated collective approach to international stability, he was rapidly running out of options. Tensions heightened as Germany tried to isolate Britain in 1915 and announced unrestricted attacks against all ships that entered the war zone around the British Isles. In early April 1917, with the toll in sunken U.S. merchant ships and civilian casualties rising, Wilson asked Congress for a war to end all wars that would make the world safe for democracy. 100 years ago, on April 6, 1917, Congress thus voted to declare war on Germany, joining the bloody battle then optimistically called the Great War. The U.S. declaration of war, in essence, was recognition that the fact that Germany had chosen to impose a very strict, a very risky gamble in the U.S., risky for Germany, but the only way they thought they could obtain the victory they needed at home. A specialist in international relations and conflict, Gomans is the author of War and Punishment, the Causes of War, Termination of the First World War. The Germans were well aware the U.S. could not and would not accept unrestricted submarine warfare, but launched it anyways. The U.S. declaration of war was thus already taken into account when the final decision for unrestricted submarine warfare was made in January 1917. Indeed, Hindenburg explicitly admitted the day before, "We count upon war with America." I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. This is elites. Elites did this. This is very elite.
It's exactly what the European Union is doing with the French people. They don't want to upset the election because it's so close, and what they're about to do would push it in Le Pen's favor. They are about to declare a total embargo on Russian oil. They're supposedly, according to Reuters, going to do this next week. This will cause a massive spike in the price of oil.
Why did your face just turn red? Are you getting these messages directly from the devil?
I'll give that to you here in a second.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for waiting.
But
yeah, and it is pronounced, that's true, Catbird. It is properly pronounced Reuters, not Reuters. It might look like that to you, but that's not how
But first, let me ask you,
can you kick my ass?
Is this really hurting Russia?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Because they've found other buyers for all of their oil.
Yeah, super cheap. So they're working almost for free.
They have found buyers in China, in Turkey, and India.
They just can't get the ships into the area to get it out.
And these people are saying that if this happens, they'll buy more.
So they'll be out of the world market and they'll buy it from Russia where it's cheap. And then the rest of the world's market will be changed accordingly.
So they have remarkably, according to JP Morgan, the Russian...
By the way, can we just remark for a second that it's all fake news and elites until he's citing people, and then it's Reuters and JP Morgan?
Russian crude exports are actually averaging 360,000 barrels above pre-invasion volumes. Huh.
Yeah, because they have to sell more of it to break even because the price has gone down.
Now
they're upping production because the oil is cheaper and they need the same amount of money.
Now they're saying that they're going to cut, Europe will cut all of that. And when they do, according to JP Morgan Chase, the price of Brent crude oil, $185 a barrel.
Dear God.
$185.
This might be the thing that drives Glenn to an electric car.
A barrel. That, because of inflation, is about where the price of oil was, about 145. For how long? In 2007 or 8. This is what
14
caused the collapse of our economy.
No, it isn't. Credit default swaps did.
It was oil prices.
No, it wasn't.
The entire Western world is built on the back of energy prices.
No, it isn't.
Being no more than $100 a barrel.
No, it isn't. And we subsidize it to keep it down on purpose.
Every time it's over $100 a barrel, it hurts the economy.
Well, yeah, because it's burning money. By the way, it takes money out of the economy. If you're looking for a way to fix inflation because you think it's monetary inflation, this is one of the ways you do it. High gas and oil prices actually fix inflation over time because they remove permanently cash from it. See, if you can invest in something like stocks or bonds, or you buy a piece of property, or you buy something that's on eBay and then you can sell it. No, oil doesn't work that way. It's much like food. You can keep it as long as you need it, but once you use it, it's done.
And it stops it. If you can get it down to, what did Trump have it down to? Like $60 a barrel?
It was negative $36 a barrel because we were in lockdown.
When you get it down there, you're starting to hurt Russia. But high prices help Russia.
Russia was in a game of chicken with Saudi Arabia, lowering the prices. They didn't care.
Saudi Arabia, and hurt us, the entire West.
No, actually. And by the way, I don't know if you know this. I know Glenn probably doesn't because he's stupid, not because he couldn't look it up. But we're about 1 million barrels shy of the peak of oil production in the United States, period. Right now, we're about 1 million. If we pumped out 1 million more barrels, we're at peak oil for the United States, the amount of production.
At $185 a barrel, I don't even know what gas prices would be, but we're probably all paying $5 plus. California, good luck. How long can the Western world survive that?
Well, and in real dollars, we had a very close experience in 2014 and in 2008. And we survived just fine. And as a matter of fact, our dollars are technically, because of mild inflation, 2% over time, are worth less than they were then. And so the prices, even though they were like a couple of dollars lower, were actually effectively higher in their monetary impact.
Now, here's what's interesting. India and China and Turkey have already said they would take this oil.
Yes, we know.
Europe is not thinking about just pulling all of the oil and stopping at cold turkey. They are thinking about maybe doing it more slowly.
Oh, are they? I want a man with a slow hand. I want a man with an oily touch. That sounds disgusting. I apologize.
Over a period of months.
Months. Excuse me? What was that again? Play, silly.
Maybe doing it more slowly over a period of months.
Months.
Well, that gives Russia time to make all the deals. Who wins in that scenario? You don't have oil.
Well, we transition to getting more oil into market over that period of time, so it doesn't affect the economies of all these countries if they might start breaking away and feeling the pinch of it.
They have buyers. What is that?
It's a little hard. This is a lot of technical mumbo jumbo, Glenn. You're going to have to dumb it down for the rest of us.
By the way, the Russian break even for oil is less than $10 a barrel. So they're talking also about price caps. We'll only pay $20, but you're still giving them $10 on every barrel.
And they need $30 to maintain their economy.
I mean, I don't understand.
I know. We know. Glenn, we know. We all know, Glenn. We know you don't understand. The question is why you have a job talking into a microphone pretending that you do.
You're just hurting yourself with...
Yes, Russia. Why are you attacking Ukraine? You're just hurting yourself. I mean, honestly, did you just feel the need to have your ass kicked by the Ukraine? Oh, wait, he's not talking about that. Oh, I mean, okay, he's talking about gas.
Yes. And, I'm beginning to wonder.
Oh, we all are, Glenn.
You remember Biden had the emergency strategic oil reserve, petroleum reserve.
Along with, I think, 12 other countries.
And he said he was going to release 180 million barrels of oil. 180 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. That's 1 million barrels a day for 180 days. And it would end, shockingly, just right after the midterm elections. Okay? So he was going to do that. And remember what he said? I'm going to do this because I want to help the average person at the gas pump.
Yes, he was actually going to help people pump gas. He was going to help the average person. If he gets the sense that you're above average or below average, you're on your own.
Well, somehow or another, the definition of an emergency in helping you now includes making a profit at the expense of American consumers.
What?
Because sooner or later, a real emergency will hit, and we will need the fuel.
Right.
According to Matt Smith, oil analyst and commodity data firm Kepler, we are now exporting our strategic oil reserve crude, and we've been doing it since last November. So when Biden said we're going to release some and it's going to help the average person, no, that's not true.
Well, you're right. Europeans, compared to our education system, a lot of them are above average. I feel that. I feel you.
Unless you consider the citizens of Europe the citizens of the United States.
No, but I would consider them, average in general, based on a mean, not on their potential.
Why didn't we know this?
Because you didn't read it.
Why is he doing this?
Because he's not.
This is really not going to help. I mean, unless he's buying the support from Europe. Why would we buy the support from Europe? Support for what?
Well, it's a straw man, so you'll have to figure that out on your own.
2 years ago today, what were oil prices?
I don't know.
Today it's $104. $104.
Yeah.
2 years ago today, oil prices $16.94.
$16.
An asterisk, of course, here in that is we are in the worst part of the pandemic.
Weird. Yeah. That's kind of an important asterisk. Also, the biggest problem you have, Stu, is not that we had $16 a barrel or that it was negative $36 a few months before that, or a couple months after that, actually. This was when it was cratering. The important thing, I think, to note is that 106 isn't even close to the 140 it was. Hold on one second. Now I got to gather this. Let's see. I need to go to here. One second. Prices. Graph. Whoops. Graph. 2000 to present. Yeah, that'll do it. There we go. I don't want the, let's see. Is this the price of it, or is this happening? Okay, gonna slide over. There we go. Let's see. A year. Yeah, this would be, here you go. Hold on. This'll help explain it. Let me scroll this up so you can see it. I'll say back hard. Here you go. This is the percentage up. Where's the actual by, let's see, historical chart. There we go. This is by barrel cost. There you go. Here's, this is 2008. This is 1980. Let's see. Let's see. There's 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011. It only dropped below there in 2008 for a few months. And it was already at that point in 2006. It did a little jag when during the election year, and then it went up in the election year, and then it cratered because everything was falling apart, and then Biden took office here, and then you're going up, and then it cratered because of, it went down because of the amount of, like, the volume of, look at that. It went from 120 to, where is it? $40 in 2016, from 2014 to 2016. And again, this goes to the whole inflation thing. This is where you look at market manipulation and all this. And right now, we are at, where's this? Right, what's it got? We'll say it's 100. There you go, $100.28 in this particular moment. I can't get over far enough on this thing, but that's just the February numbers. We're not anywhere close to this right now. This business, and this is the right before the crash, in the lead up. Good times. Oh, the wrong one. Sorry.
At this point, which is a massive, that is the lowest it went, but that was 2 years ago exactly today. $16.94. It's now over $100. And,
yeah, by $6. And by the way, Glenn is not happy that you just reminded him that it's a full $40 cheaper than it was, 8 years ago.
Once we rebounded off the real catastrophic drop of the pandemic, it was around $40 after that, and now we're at $104.
$40 to $60 is a dream.
Yeah, 40 to 60 is where it was throughout 2019, most of 2017. It's a little higher at times in 2018, but had leveled off between $50 and $60 before the pandemic hit. And then, of course, all the way down to $16.
It was negative $36.
That's amazing. I wish I would have bought oil back then.
Stu, can you tell me, what exactly do you think is happening with the Strategic Oil Reserve being released, some of it at least, to Europe? That's not for Europe. That's for us. And that is actually not for price relief. That is to run our ships, our Navy,
No, it is for price relief. We've used it for price relief before.
Our Air Force.
What it's supposed to be, certainly.
Exactly right. Okay. And then we seem to be going closer and closer. Remember, Joe Biden said, I don't want to do anything that's going to, look like we're supporting Ukraine in any military fashion.
No, that's not what he said. Otherwise, we wouldn't be giving them hundreds of millions of dollars. I think $1.6 billion, actually, in arms. Unless he's doing it really nonchalantly. Like, he's just pushing javelins across the bar. I don't know where that came from. It was just sitting there when I came in.
We're not going to replace those planes for Poland if they do that. We're not.
Yeah, but that's because we're not going to let them trade MiGs for F-16s.
Not going to be involved in that at all.
F-22s.
Okay? Because that would be akin to an act of war.
Right.
He was very clear on that, wasn't he? Or was it just
like
me?
It. No, it seemed like it.
No, that's not why.
Yesterday, NBC News cited 5 U.S. officials that said a new package, a new arms package, which will bring our military aid to $3 billion.
Yeah. I'm starting to think Biden doesn't care about the optics the same way you think he does.
Is going to be announced. Listen to this. We are now selling them howitzers, anti-aircraft systems, anti-ship missiles, armed drones, armored trucks, personnel carriers, and even tanks.
You're welcome.
Now, that sounds to me as bad, if not worse, than some old planes from the 1960s.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that the infection that Glenn clearly has in his nasal passages is the result of fecal material getting lodged in his nostrils when he had his head up his own ass. I would line this up with the whole student debt forgiveness. Let's pretend Biden made a promise he didn't make and then hold him to it and be weirded out when he doesn't.
That we weren't even going to do.
All right. Again, we're not giving Poland F-22s and F-16s to replace MiGs.
Why are we doing this? By the way, Russia sent a warning to us.
Right. Who gives a fuck?
That if we start delivering these, quote, most sensitive weapon systems to Ukraine, it will bring unpredictable consequences.
Oh, well, I'm clearly shaking in my fucking boots. I would have said that, you know what, the most recent example of unpredictable consequences in terms of Russia are, nobody thought they would get their ass kicked this handily, this quickly. The sinking of the Moskva, I would call that an unpredictable consequence. That's just me.
I don't think they're unpredictable.
All right, what do you think they're going to be, Glenn? Here we go. Good piece of information. Bring it. Come on.
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means. I don't think it's unpredictable.
Okay, what is it then? What are the consequences? Let's hear it. What do you think you're going to do? Cyber attacks?
Are we shooting ourselves in the foot?
No. I mean, that would be unpredictable consequences if Russia had a space ray that made us shoot ourselves in the feet.
By giving away our oil reserve, even selling our oil reserve, just touching our oil reserves.
Yeah, you shouldn't touch your oil reserves. Not in public, honey. Wait till you get home. It's your private place.
At this point, while we're antagonizing the bigger bully.
They're not the bigger bully. They're a paper tiger. It's bullshit.
And maybe the biggest bully on the block?
They're not. Arguably, China would be bigger, and even they aren't that scary.
For 6,000 nuclear weapons?
Tell me how many of them work.
Yeah, that seems like a problem to me. Now, if you're going, the back sort of the backstory as far as the reporting goes,
right,
seems to indicate basically we're trying to say to Europe, you guys need to stop buying Russian fossil fuels,
right?
And they say, well,
Stu,
what are we going to use? And this is part of our answer. Right. Well, we'll send you some from our strategic oil reserves
and a lot from our actual industry.
Help, lower the burden as you cut this off.
We just open up our system. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to take us 6 months, but we're already 6 months into this.
We are dum-dum.
We're going to open up our systems.
Our systems weren't closed either.
Again, we're going to start.
If this motherfucker says Keystone XL,
start pumping it like we were.
I've been pumping it. I never stopped.
And we'll sell it to you for $60 a barrel.
Now, I pump for free. Let's just be honest. I don't know what kind of gal you think I am.
And we're going to leave our strategic oil reserve alone.
Well, you've refilled the strategic oil reserve mostly by a dividend provided by the companies that pump oil out of the earth in the United States. So a portion of that as part of the lease can be paid in cash, or they can put money into they can put oil into the strategic reserve. See how that works? Do you think he knows this? Honestly, do you think?
It's really getting simple.
It's fast.
Well, in deference to you and Stu.
Fascinating to watch this because you mentioned before, you're like, wasn't he really clear about this? And he was really clear when he said, that we were not going to do anything that was going to escalate us into war. But
is that what he said?
To say that he was clear really about any of this overall is really difficult to say. He's gone back and forth over and over again. Remember, this guy ran a platform saying we're going to get rid of fossil fuels.
Yeah, but we're in a war right now, and a fifth of the Earth's oil supply has been cut off. And if we just sever all ties and go, fuck fossil fuels today, we're done. Stroke of the pen, executive order, we're no longer using fossil fuels. 1 billion people will die of starvation this year, you dumb shit.
We're going to eliminate them. We're going to be,
It's going to phase them out. Some of us actually listen to the debates.
Net zero.
Yes, net zero is not zero. Net zero is you take out as much as you put in, and it evens you out. So you're not making any more damage at all. You're mitigating it while the system heals itself, and then you slowly over time lower your dependence on it even more to the point where it's negative. Zero is just you, Stu.
All of these things that he said to environmentalists to get their vote. Then he gets in front of the public and people say, hey, you keep saying you're going to get rid of all these fossil fuels. Now we're having an oil price crisis. What's the deal?
Yeah, what gives? It's so weird. Hold on. I think let's see. It's almost as if like, and hold on, now I gotta. Yeah, here you go. It's almost as if he's recognizing the reality of the circumstance we're in and then taking mitigatory actions to keep on track. The Biden administration anticipates authorizing an additional 10 gigawatts of renewable energy projects on U.S. public land by the end of 2023, nearly doubling current permit capacity. The Interior Department made the projection in a report to Congress that shows regulators and developers moving rapidly to advance new wind farms and solar arrays in Arizona, California, Nevada, and other western states. The effort is part of the administration's push to make the U.S. power sector emission-free by 2035 and permit some 25 gigawatts of solar, wind, and geothermal energy production on public lands by 2025. By the way, that's not, they're jacking up the number of private permits as well. This is just on public lands. The technological advances, increased interest, cost effectiveness, and tremendous economic potential make these projects a promising path for diversifying our national energy portfolio. Interior Secretary Deb Haaland said in a news release Wednesday. As part of the plan, the Interior is considering changes to electric transmission corridors across 11 western states that are meant to target and accelerate the development of power lines. Regulators also will be using new policies to screen and prioritize proposed solar and wind projects on public lands with the goal of moving more quickly on the most feasible proposals. The Interior's Bureau of Land Management has ramped up renewable energy permitting under Biden, having authorized 12 projects in fiscal 2021 that support 2,890 megawatts of solar and geothermal energy generation, according to the report. Almost all of those were solar ventures, such as the 500 megawatt Yellow Pine and 350 megawatt Hot Pot projects in Nevada, which are fascinating. I drive by one of them all the time. The agency continues signing new leases for renewable projects, including granting Minersville Solar Energy LLC the first competitively awarded rights for solar ventures in Utah. Utah, there's three of my favorite names, Marvin, Thelma, and Provo. If the three parcels are fully developed, they could generate more than 600 megawatts of electricity. The Bureau has said it is now processing proposals for 48 solar, wind, and geothermal projects on public lands with an anticipation to permit 4,703 megawatts by October 1st, the start of the next fiscal year. Staffing constraints and environmental reviews are limitations on the pace, according to the report to Congress. The only thing slowing them down is the availability of the people to fucking carry it out.
Here, gas prices are going through the roof. It's hurting families. Foggy. And he says, we haven't done anything. We haven't done anything to stop production. What are you talking about? Now, there is a court ruling that said they have to open up new leases, not their action. The court said you have to open up these new leases.
No, there are a bunch of new leases. Some of them had environmental reviews. The ones in Louisiana, they had a judge push back on those. That's it. And essentially they were like, look, this is a fight between the fisheries in Louisiana and the oil companies.
The environmentalists are mad, and he's saying again, we're not doing anything.
We're not doing anything. Do you know how many fucking supposed lefties believe this fucker? Believe Stu?
This isn't us. So, they've gone back and forth on this so many times because they're telling the left that they're absolutely attacking fossil fuels.
They are.
And then telling the American...
And they are. See, Stu, he fucked up your story. You were in the middle of saying that he's a liar and he's not doing it, but that eats into his narrative that they're not that they're ruining fossil fuels and they're trying to, this is the new Great Reset, Green Deal nonsense. He fucked up your, why don't you just stop talking? If I was Stu, I would just turn the desk over and walk out.
American people, we're not doing anything on that front at all. All these oil companies are just so greedy, and that's the problem here.
All right.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Just do me a favor and prepare for a bad scenario. Maybe.
Yeah, get some fucking tubs full of pancake batter and lock yourself in the basement.
It doesn't come. But so far, it looks like that's what they're going to announce next week.
Great. This is what it's come down to, is that Glenn Beck is now doing stories about supposed things that will be announced next week that are going to be baddish. I'm just going to enjoy this. I got to tell you, I got no more Glenn. See me go nuts. You have to understand. There's somebody like you yelling that about almost everybody I cover. But all of these people are the reason why Fox News has their talking points. They're the reason. They are the, whatever you hear on these shows and the arguments around them and the basis of them or the lack thereof, you're going to hear coming out of Ted Cruz or Jim Jordan or Josh Hawley on the seat of on the floor of the Senate or in a committee some point. And so I think a lot of people just kind of are afraid to watch these things for fear that they'll get black pilled or red pilled or whatever it is. I forget what pill it is supposed to be. And that, they'll, it's a waste of your time to watch and think, all right. And it is by yourself. But with me along, it's fun. And what I want to remind you is that these guys operate largely on the mythology that they know what the fuck they're talking about. And all of them are talking out of their ass. And the more you find about all these topics, more you kind of study up on them, the more it's hilarious when these people show up on the news or as pundits or try to make these cases, because it falls apart amazingly swiftly. I mean, it's why I could go after the Hunter Biden laptop bullshit as easily as I can without fear. It's why I call out the bullshit I see, and when people kind of throw stuff back at me, why it never really messes with me, because I've done my fucking homework and I'm not worried about it. It's good. It's red pilling. Thank you. I wish I cared, but I don't. And by the way, this is where the chat is now. I moved my clips to here and to here so that it's better and more consistent with what you're seeing on screen. Did anybody notice? I mean, it's a minor thing, but I was chipping away at it. Look at that, 888 subs. You guys, come on. Mandy, thank you for being a member for 7 months. That's really lovely. Hold on, I'm going to bring this up. Mr. Jath, 937. Philly Dana, thank you for staying members. DJ Safe, thank you for subscribing. Auntie Sarah, bless you. Robert, thanks for the $2. Love you, Hal. Just ordered an NFT and a crest sticker. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Yes, for those of you that don't know, I made an NFT. It's just a t-shirt that says, it has the letters N and F on it. So now you too can own an NFT, but not be an asshole who's losing your money, because at the very least you have a great conversation starter and a joke. And for fuck's sake, why no one else thought of this is shocking to me. And I know somebody's going to steal it and run with it, but I am just saying, you deserve all the subs and views, Hal. Thank you, Sarah. Bless you. The fact that I had to come up with this, and I was like, how did nobody spot this? How did nobody... By the way, don't forget to give a thumbs up on your way out the door.